Cool. Well, then I'm going to get to streaming. I'm going to post it in Facebook, Brandon, and I'm probably going to just listen to y'all, but not have y'all go through to the stream. That's what I'm planning on doing. All right, I kicked off the stream. I'm going to just listen to you guys quietly. Good luck with your game, and I'll still be in the Discord, so if you say something to me, I'll unmute and talk to you. Right. Just getting started here. All right. Okay, so welcome everybody to the finals of Corona 4. I want to talk a little bit about Corona Cup 4, and then I'll get into the players and the list that we have on hand tonight. First off, so this is the fourth Corona Cup we've done. 512 has, I guess, managed or TO'd all four of these tournaments. We started doing this after COVID hit last year, just as an effort to really keep the 512, that's the Austin, Texas area code, playing X-Wing. Even though we couldn't do it in person, we're still not at a point where a lot of stores are letting people play in person. So the idea was just, keep people playing X-Wing, keep them sharp. But more importantly, just keep it so people just get to, play together, see each other, at least playing the game, maybe not see them face to face, but get to see each other playing the game. So let me tell you about how Corona 1 through 4 happened. So the first tournament, Corona 1, Brandon ended up winning it. He's our player on the left, the Red Scum player. Brandon is an exceptional player in Austin. He's on our podcast. He's just a good dude, and he's a good list creator. And we'll actually get to his list here in a second. What was funny about Corona 1 is the 512 guys made each other's list, and so Brandon flew my list all to the finals and won. So you're welcome, Brandon. In Corona 2, Brandon was also in the finals, and but Jackson from Idea Squad ended up winning. Super nice guy, great player, and he beat Brandon. And that's actually going to tee up where we're going to be tonight. Corona 3, we did a little differently. So Corona 1 and 2, they were one game a week tournaments. We let people change their list under round 3. The whole idea there is that your list can get boring if you're doing bad in a tournament. It can get really boring if you're playing it for 5 to 8 weeks. And so we give people the ability, and we did in this Corona 4 as well, to change your list after round 3. We did make you stay in the same faction, but you could do whatever you wanted. You could change out the ships, the pilots, the cards, upgrade cards, whatever you wanted to do. You could do it. So now in Corona 3, we did it as a kind of a one-day tournament. And Rob, who's the blue player on our right, he won that tournament. And and he's also from Idea Squad. So we have a final in Corona 4 with 512 versus Idea Squad, and they're both good guys. They create good lists. They're good players, and it's interesting because they've got similar bags of tricks in their list. And so I'm actually going to bring up their list in just a second here. All right, so let me see what I've got going here. Give me just a second. I'm having to do this by myself tonight because no one would join me in commentating. So let me bring up the list. I'm going to start with Brandon's list. Oh, by the way, one other important thing. Both of these players beat me. They were my only 2 losses in Swiss. They both beat me, so I have a pretty good idea of what they like to do in the game. We'll see how that works out. So the key part of Brandon's list is Kanan Jarrus. Obviously, Kanan is a new ship. He came out with the new, I think it's called it's not the Phoenix Squadron pack, but it was the new Rebel pack that came out. He's got Maul on him to give him an extra force. So it's Kanan with 2 force who can also, after he takes damage, take a stress and recover a charge. And Kanan's ability is when you are a ship in your arc defends, you may spend 1 force. If you do, the attacker rolls 1 fewer attack die. In my game with Brandon, he did it to me 4 times in 1 turn. And that can really just take the teeth out of your list. So he's one to watch for. Then we've got Palob. Palob's a well-known scum ship. So Palob's at the start of the engagement phase. You may choose 1 enemy ship in your firing arc, range 1 to 2. If you do, transfer 1 focus or evade tokens from that ship to yourself. And Palob has a lot of tools. He's got Cutthroat. That's a new ability, elite pilot talent. That when your ship blows up, which may or may not happen in this game, but if one of Brandon's ships blows up, he can recharge a charge on, for example, a stealth device. Or false transponder codes. And then the other thing Brandon's got going for him on Palob is he's got Moldy Crow, so he can retain up to 2 focus tokens at the end of his turn. And he's got Lando, which pairs so well with Moldy Crow, where he can spend a green token to reroll his dice. So if Brandon has 3 focus on Palob, and he will, he's basically got target lock and 2 focus. So pretty nifty approach there. Then he's got Genesis Red, and Genesis Red is a Seek that we don't see that often. I like how Brandon put Genesis Red together. So he's got Proton Torps, which came down in the last points increase or decrease, points adjustment, I should say. And he's got Cutthroat. So if a ship blows up on Brandon's squad, he can get a free, Proton Torp recharge. And since Genesis Red doesn't have reload on his action bar, he can't reload it anyway. But Genesis Red's ability is so neat with his list. After he acquires a lock, you remove all your focus and evade tokens, and then the ship that you target locked, you get a copy of all their focus and evades. That could be really fun in this matchup because Brandon could lock on to Rob's Hawk, which we'll talk about in a second here, and copy his tokens. So that might be kind of cool. I kind of expect that to happen. And then last, and I'll say least, is Unkar Plutt is just your quad jumper. So if you bump into Unkar Plutt, which is totally possible, he can give you a tractor and either just reduce your dice and move you. One of the things, so we'll see how that works out. The other thing I'll kind of talk about real quick here is that both these players are at 198. They have overlap at I4. Initiative matters in this game. and I didn't catch who got initiative. So I'm gonna ask them real quick. Hey guys, could you remind me who got initiative in this game? Awesome, thank you. All right, so Rob is player one. So that means that's exactly what Brandon wants. I would guess that Brandon won the dice roll because with Genesis Red, he wants Garvin, which is Rob's I4 to move first, take a focus token. Garvin wants to take a focus token, and so when Genesis Red locks him, he can get a focus, or he can get off one of the other ships that's retaining their focus token. So I think Brandon wanted that. Although when I played Rob, he wanted to take initiative. So I'm not 100% sure how that went down, but we know Rob has initiative. So we'll start talking about Rob's list here. So I'll bring up Kyle Katarn first. So, Rebel Hawk, Rebel list. At the start of your engagement phase, you may transfer one of your focus tokens to a friendly ship in your firing arc. Awesome ability, especially if you have Moldy Crow on your ship and you've got 3 focus tokens at the start of engagement. And since he's got Moldy Crow, he's got his front arc and his side arc. So he can transfer a focus token to, ships in 180 degree arc from him. The thing that surprised me a bit about Rob's list is Jyn Erso. I didn't realize how important Jyn Erso was going to be to his list. But Jyn Erso's ability is a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 would gain a focus token, which Kyle's going to do. He's going to hand off focus tokens. It may gain 1 invade token instead. And I'll just say that dramatically reduced the effect of my red dice when I played Rob. Super good ability, and Jyn Erso's only 2 points. Then we'll look at Hera. So Hera's super popular right now. When another friendly ship at range 1 to 2 defends or performs an attack. And they recently FAQ'd this, that you can do this modification during, you make this decision, I should say, during the modified dice step. So you roll dice. If Garvin, for example, doesn't have a focus token and he's got 3 eyeballs, Hera can say, here you go, buddy. Here's a focus. And gives them the focus. Or Hera can take a target lock. And, Garvin rolls 3 blanks. Okay, dude. You get the target lock now. So pick those dice up and re-roll them all. So Hera's super good. And she's super neat with Garvin, the next ship. So Garvin's a ship I actually played with in this, or I should say pilot in this tournament, after you spend a focus token. So you have to spend it. And the rules say you can't spend a focus token unless it has an effect on your dice. So you got to roll at least an eyeball to be able to use it. And that was the issue I had with Garvin in this tournament. It's like half the time I rolled dice, he didn't roll an eyeball. And so, I'd be depending on him throwing focuses around. Well, with Rob's list here, he can just boomerang the focus back and forth between Hera and Garvin. And I know in our game he did that at least once, where he sent the focus back and forth between the two of them. So pretty neat ability there. Let's see where we are next. And he has Selfless. I don't recall Rob using Selfless one time in our game, so I'll be kind of curious if he does in this game. Let's see. The last ship is just good old Wedge. But the trick with Wedge here is he's got swarm tactics. Wedge is a good ship. He's got a great ability. But the thing here that gives Rob an edge, at least from an initiative perspective, is he's got Hera at I6. He's got Wedge at I6. He's got swarm tactics, which can make Garvin so an I6, or Kyle Katarn an I6. So when he's shooting, he's effectively going to be have 3 I6s, which could potentially PS kill a ship. Now, Brandon's going to make that harder on him with Kane and Jarrus, who's going to say, yeah, that's cool. You want to roll those dice? Now roll one less with his ability when he spends a force. So that's pretty much what we've got for the ships. I'm going to take off the cards now, and we're going to watch them. So one good thing about this is that while I've been talking about the cards, you've missed nothing, because both these players with 2 Multi-Crow Hawks on the board, they're going to just be trying to collect focus tokens. They actually joked about it before the game started that, hey, we're not going to engage till our Hawks have at least 3 focus tokens on the board. So they are, I'm not saying they're slow playing, they're just positioning themselves and moving slowly in such a way that they're going to have, maximum tokens by the time that they engage, which they're probably pretty much there already. So Brandon just bumped. Doesn't sound like he's upset about that one bit. So, but Brandon is a very methodical player. He really takes his time, and I kind of notice similar trait with Rob, where, like, for example, when the engagement phase started, I'll zoom in a little bit so that we can see more of the board now that we're getting closer here. But like, for example, when it was time to start the engagement, Rob's thinking real carefully about who he's going to swarm tactic, and he's not going to rush. He's going to be real careful about his decisions. He's going to be real deliberate, and both these players are that way. So I kind of expect a tight game. A lot of ships with half points, that sort of thing, and someone winning on points. I don't expect either one of these players to just mop the floor with the other in this game, although I could be surprised by that. So he's doing a barrel roll with Genesis Red. I really like that because if you look at the positioning on the board, Rob's Hawk and Garvin are likely going to be going up that middle where the gas clouds are. And Genesis Red will probably be able to flank somebody and shoot a proton torp. One of the interesting things that's going to happen when they get close is one thing that Brandon can do. Although Rob can toss around focus tokens, Brandon can steal them. And so it'll be interesting to see if Rob decides to not, go to the hilt with tokens so that, Brandon can't steal them from him. So this is interesting. Unkar, because Kanan I'm sorry, because Palob moved into the quad jumper, Unkar can tractor him, even though they're friendly. So Brandon's basically using the tractor trick, kind of like Nantex, to give a ship a free barrel roll without causing it stress. So pretty nifty trick for Brandon there. I'm expecting Brandon to orbit with Yellow, I'm going to see which ship that is because he's got two hawks. It's Palop, so the token stealer. I expect Brandon to kind of orbit these clouds with Palob. If he takes a shot, it's going to be a crappy shot because it's going to be through a cloud and he's going to have focus tokens. And he can do his tricks about basically denying Rob from extra tokens. So, I mean, this is definitely a token war here, where both of these ships end up having a lot of double modded shots and tricks on defense. I think that's going to come into play too, where Brandon's got Kanan to reduce die, but then Rob's got Jyn Erso, where he can throw a focus token but turn it into an evade with Jyn Erso, which is such a good ability. Both of them have ways to mitigate shots, but I feel like right now I think Brandon's doing a really good job of using the terrain to his advantage. If Rob wants to come into that space in the middle of the board, I don't think Brandon's gonna be upset about that, particularly because he's got the I2 quad jumper that can throw a tractor beam token if it bumps into it. So I think Brandon's setting himself up in a position where he can get some blocks, throw some tractors. But I also think that Rob's list has got more punch to it. And, he has the ability to maybe, if he's careful, just PS kill that quad jumper and take it off the board early, which is what I tried to do in my game with Rob and couldn't do it. So, we'll see if I'm sorry, against Brandon and couldn't do it. So we'll see if Rob does a better job with that. They're not chatting right now, so I think they're thinking about dials. I can't really tell with Brandon's dials if they're set or not. He's scaled them and it kind of messed with the graphics a bit. But I can tell Rob's got at least one dial with, I'm sure that's Wedge left. That might be Garvin, actually. Oh, yeah. So Garvin's the I4, red one, and Wedge is the yellow one there. I may make a note of that on our scoreboard. Do a little cleanup over here too. So I think Brandon's Palob is yellow. Update that. Okay, move in a little closer so we can see what's going on here. So Rob didn't take the bait, and he's moving Kyle Katarn out there. So both of them. Ooh, but Brandon did come in. Interesting. With Palop. I really thought he was going to orbit out there. So if you're just tuning in to us, we've got two players with Multi Crow Hawks um, thinking very hard about their positioning, collecting focus tokens, trying to put themselves in the best possible position. We'll see how that works. It's interesting that Rob gave or focused with Garvin. He might be in range too of Paylob, who will be able to take that away at the start of engagement. We'll see. It looks like Paylob is in range of Garvin, so Garvin's probably going to lose that token. That's interesting. So they're talking about how Paylob's in range, but Garvin's not because of geometry. So and Brandon was saying, that's fine. You can have a target lock. I'll just jam it away. It's cool. So Rob made the decision to swarm tactic up Garvin. Totally makes sense in this scenario. So Harris got no shot. Now he's got to decide who he wants to shoot with first. So it looks like he's shooting with Wedge. So another geometry thing. So Wedge took a target lock on Paylob, but can't actually shoot him somehow. So he's going to shoot the quad jumper. Brandon's deciding if he wants to spend a force with Kanan to reduce his dice 1. I don't know why he wouldn't. There's going to be very few less shots than we thought in this first engagement. So it's 1 hit. Since it's range 3, he's rolling 2 dice. No consequences. So Wedge shoots somebody and nothing happens. It happens. So Rob's deciding who he wants to shoot with his I6 up Garvin. And Brandon decides since he doesn't have a target lock, he's going to not reduce his dice. So Brandon's going to conserve a force and roll the dice. For 1 crit, looks like a good decision. Because dice confirm good decision making. So now they're getting to They already decided Genesis Red doesn't have a shot, so they're looking at Kyle Katarn. So he's going to be shooting at Garvin with Paylob. Oh, he does have wedge, range 3. So he's shooting wedge, which I think is the correct decision for a couple of reasons. Wedge's dice on defense give out on them, and the other reason is Wedge has swarm tactics. So if Brandon can take Wedge off the board, he really loses 2 I6s, Rob would. So he turned it into hit crit, and Hera's sending him a focus, and there's no damage. So I'm going to check, but no damage has been done in like 4 shots, which is not going to be surprising probably through the course of this game. I bet we'll continue to see things like that. So he's taking Unkar Plut at I2. This is the last shot of this round, of this turn. And he scored 1 hit. And Wedge rolls 3 evades. So Rob just wasted his good dice on that defense. So now we're back to dials. I'm going to zoom in so we can get a good look at what we might be doing this turn. I think the fastest bendy maneuver for the quadrumper, I'm just kind of remembering his dial, is a 3 bank. I bet Brandon's going to do like a 2 hard or a 2 bank with the quadrumper. He wants to muck up the works. He wants to hand people tractors, all that good stuff. I expect Genesis Red to do a 1 bank in and target lock somebody. And because Rob has initiative, he could target lock Garvin after he takes a focus token, which would be great for Genesis Red. And I'm not sure what Brandon's going to do with Paylob. I mean, it makes the way the board's looking, it makes you think he's going to come into the fray, but Brandon may not. Another thing that the Hawks got going for it, it's got I believe, a boost link into a focus. So Brandon could do a relatively fast maneuver, come over here and, dodge the joust with Paylob and let him do Paylobby things without paying for it. Brandon can be a very cagey player, so I expect him to do something like that. And then Kanan, he needs to be in range 2 of ships that are being shot at, so that he can reduce their dice. I believe it's range 2. I'm going to check that. No, it's just arc. So Kanan could go anywhere. He's probably going to be range 3 of maybe even Genesis Red this turn. And then looking at Rob's list, take a look at this. I mean, Hera's not stressed. She could do a 1 hard. That's actually what I expect her to do. She's got to be a range 0 to 2 for her to spend her focus or her target lock on one of her buds during their mods. I kind of expect Wedge to do like a 1 straight. I expect Kyle to do probably a 2 bank left, because that would put him. I'm trying not to draw on the board with my cursor because these guys can see my cursor moving. But I think Kyle's going to move 2 bank to the left. That way he gets to continue to support his buds. What I'm not sure about is Garvin. I'm really not. But Garvin could do something as simple as a 1 bank. He might be able to dodge Unkar Plutt with just a 1 bank. So they just said they're set. So we'll see what they decide to do. So I didn't see what the maneuver was. It looks like it was just a 1 bank though. So he got in range 1, and with his ability, he's giving Garvin a tractor beam. So it may not matter what Rob was trying to do this turn because he may not be able to do it. So yeah, Brandon's that makes sense to me. Brandon's going to move him to the right. So he'll go over a cloud, take a strain, not be able to perform an action this turn. I don't know that Garvin was going to focus this turn anyway because Paylob could just steal it. But that's what he did. So now Rob is rolling for the strain on the cloud, and he's got a 5 out of 8 chance with hits and eyeballs, and he does. And so he takes a strain, and he's going to go through it again and maybe take another. Kyle Katarn moves, shockingly focuses, and now Paylob is moving, and for whatever reason, I can't see Brandon's maneuvers. He does a 1 bank. I could see Paylob taking an evade this turn. He hasn't decided yet. But no, he's going to focus. Neat thing about Lando on Paylob is he can spend a focus token even on green dice to re-roll them. Brandon's deciding something. Whoa, he's taking a target lock on Wedge instead. He's going offense. I think Wedge is going to do 1 straight and be like, cool, bro. We'll see what happens. Now Garvin moves through the cloud. He may have a shot on Paylob. But he gets to roll for the cloud, and he misses with a crit. It's like the one good time when you're rolling for an obstacle or a mine, bomb, etc. And you want to roll a crit. So Brandon did the 1 bank in just like I thought. He's looking for a target lock. He said he doesn't care about Hera, so it's between Wedge and Garvin. Brandon's saying if Wedge goes forward, he's going to be behind the cloud. So I think he's going to go with Garvin. So But because Brandon put him through that cloud, he doesn't have a focus token to copy on Genesis Red. And he did a one straight like both Brandon and I both thought he was going to do with Wedge. And that's cool. He's not going to want to focus because he'll just give Paylob focus. I'll make sure Paylob's card says that. Yep. So I think it would have been better for Brandon to take the evade with Paylob, honestly. We'll see. He will be able to hand over one of those focus tokens to Genesis Red for the really juicy Proton Torp on Garvin, who's going to roll exactly 0 dice if he shoots a Proton Torp at him because he's got the Tractor and a Strain. So I think Rob did a 2 hard with Hera instead of a 1 like I predicted, and he bumped. Since Rob has initiative, he's doing his token dancing first. He's thinking really hard about where he wants to send those tokens. So Brandon stole a 3rd token. And because Hera bumped, well, it doesn't matter. Hera doesn't have a token. It doesn't matter. So Wedge is at range 1 of Ankar Plutt, 2 at Paylob. So Brandon's spending a force to let Wedge roll 1 less dice, but Wedge still rolled a great hit crit at Ankar Plutt. I guess it was at. Actually, I was wrong. That was at Paylob because Paylob's got Stealth Device and Wedge Decrement at 1, but Brandon spent 2 focus tokens to get to 2 evades. With Lando re-rolling the blank into an eyeball and spending another focus to make that a 2nd evade. So Hera is sending 1 dice at a cloaking device or stealth device. Paylob, who easily avoids it. So I think it would be Garvin next. Yeah, I think Garvin's going to have Kanan. I couldn't tell if he's got Paylob or not. So he has Paylob just barely, and Brandon's spending his last force on Kanan. It's range 2 at Paylob, just barely. And it's 1 hit on Paylob with Stealth Device, who easily avoids it. So Genesis Red is going to shoot now. So he's 4 dice with the Proton Torp. And Brandon's pointing out you have Selfless on that ship. So That wasn't the greatest roll ever. So he turned the hit to a crit with Proton Torps, and then he's picking up his 3 dice and re-rolling them. And he wishes he had a focus token right now. So 2 shields on Garvin, so the crit doesn't go through. So Kyle shooting range 2 into Paylob. He's got Moldy Crow, so he's got 3 dice out the front. And Kanan doesn't have any force left, so he can't make it smaller, but it doesn't matter when you only roll 1 hit. And Brandon takes no damage. I got to clean up the board state a little bit because I need to take the 2 shields off of Garvin. It's not enough to get him points, but it's close. Okay, so Brandon shots his I3s first. So Garvin lost his strain, but he still got his tractor. So this is going to be 2 dice against 1 on Garvin. So if he gets 1 through, he'll score the first points of the game. And that will get 1 through for sure, and it will be a crit. He rolled an evade, but he's going to take a crit. Damage sensor array. And Rob is sarcastically saying, oh no, it's damage sensor array that only lets me focus with Garvin. Oh, what a shame. So Brandon shooting range 1 with Paylob against Garvin. Oh my goodness, it's a good roll. Will he focus? He will. So at least hit crit will go through, and actually it's going to be a dead Garvin. And Rob is deleting those cards. If you're noticing them drop off the screen here. With prejudice. What's neat about these 2 guys is they're talking about their strategy and their motives and their intent on both round, and what they're both trying to do here, which is so neat. They're not playing close to their vest. So Unkar shooting wedge makes sense. He's the swarm tactic dude. He can still swarm up Kyle. Just 1 hit on wedge, which he'll probably evade, and he does. So Kyle lost his force, and Genesis Red spent a Proton Torp, and only got to hit crit with it. That's really the worst thing that happened to Brandon, and Rob lost Garvin, which is in this game him losing an I6 because of swarm tactics. All right, so let's look at the board state here. Think about what we looked at what Brandon was going to do, what I thought he was going to do. The only thing really he did different than I thought he was going to do was I thought Paylob was going to get out of dodge. That worked out fine for him because Rob took a lot of shots at Paylob and did 0 damage. course, Paylob doesn't have any focus tokens. And Kyle has 2 left here. So what is Wedge going to do? Rob needs points. And there's really only 2 ships on the board because Hera doesn't have rockets that can do damage. It's really Wedge and Kyle. So he needs to get them in a position where they can take something off the board, but you also don't want to just creep in there, 1 straight again, bang into Unkar, not have a token, be tractored, all that. I'm going to take a look at Unkar's dial here. I wouldn't be shocked if he stops. Or 1 straight. I mean, you could 1 straight and effectively do the same thing, and then Paylob can 1 straight behind him. That's what I bet. So with that in mind, Wedge could 4K even if he wants to. What would be hard for him to do, though, is do like a 4 straight or 3 straight focus boost with S-Wells closed, because it's going to be a while before he gets back into the game, and he really needs Wedge to do damage. So I expect, my guess is probably that Wedge will 4K, or something like that. Hera will peel off, take a target lock, Kyle can throw him a focus, and he could do damage to a ship. That's something that he could do this turn, or he could do like a 3 bank and be in Genesis Red's face and maybe not take a shot, although Brandon could very easily move his turret arc on Paylob this turn. So I'm not sure. I'm going to pull this up so I can see. So Brandon can focus rotate with Paylob, which I could totally see him doing this turn. So I don't really like Rob's options here. And Rob's going to move his Kyle Katarn before Kanan Jarrus also. So this might be a good turn for Kyle to actually come in and into the fray. He's got a 3 dice front attack and help do some damage. And, Wedge could swarm tactic him up. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think Wedge, either through 4K or going straight, is going to go for shots. Kyle's going to come in. Hera's going to peel off so he can hand them a target lock, probably. And I think Brandon's just going for blocks. That's what I thought he was going to do, 1 straight to victory. Yeah, so here's the thing. Unkar Plut. If a ship is in front arc in range 1, that ship gains a tractor token or 2 tractor tokens if he's in bullseye, so he can totally do that to Wedge right now. Brandon's thinking about it. Genesis Red's taking a target lock on Wedge, who doesn't have a focus token. And And Brandon thinks that's the right thing to do. I think Genesis Red's going to shoot another proton torp without a focus and get 2 or 3 hits. So. And he did move Kyle in. That's what I expected him to do. And he's jamming Paylob. Super good. Brandon's thinking about jamming something. I mean, I don't know if Wedge is going to have a focus. He could jam Hera. I don't know that Wedge is going to have a token at all. Well, actually, I should change that. He could jam Wedge and then yeah, and then if Hera gives him a focus, it just comes off. So he's just going to focus for himself. Kanan moved into a position where pretty much whatever Kyle did, he was going to flank him. I wonder if Brandon's going to link to a boost. Jin Red moves in. There's a lot of thinking going on in this game about whether we focus or not. He focused. So now we'll see where Wedge and Hera go. Hera's moving first. And I guess she bumped. Oh, he did a 4K. That was one of the things I thought he might do. But Genesis Red, I think. Genesis Red blocked it. Interestingly enough, Brandon doesn't have a shot with Genesis Red Proton Torp on Dutch. I mean, Wedge. So. And now he's giving, well, maybe he will. He's tracked her into the right, so maybe Genesis will have that shot after all. So he's going to move him onto the cloud to Wedge's right over here. He doesn't think that's enough for his arc. I think he's wrong. I think he's got that. He's got arc. We'll see, though. It's close. Okay. So I assume Wedge, I missed it, but I assume Wedge rolled for his strain and, rolled a crit or a blank and didn't get a strain there. But he is tractored, so he's going to lose the dice anyway. think between Paylob and Genesis Red, I think Wedge is going to half. He's tractoring himself. So he can take another shot on Wedge, I suppose. And it fit. I mean, you can see that's crazy, crazy stuff going on here. This is like next level X-Wing right here. So Brandon stole a focus. And since Kyle's at range 1, so Brandon's deciding about whether he wants Kyle to reduce the dice, and he decided he's not. So Kyle is going to shoot 4 dice, resulted into 2 hits on Paylob, and Paylob natties out. And then Hera is shooting next, range 2 on Paylob with 2 dice. Brandon decided not to decrement that appropriately. He just needs to roll 1 evade, which he keeps doing. And then Wedge is rolling maybe 4. I don't know. They should look at the arc. Looked like it was range 1. So sorry if I'm making you sick moving the camera around. So Kyle is spinning a force to decrement Wedge's shot by 1. He has no mods, but he rolls a great natty roll. So Paylob's losing his self device and taking 1 shield. Rob's done 1 damage. He's not thrilled with that. Brandon's saying he's never going to be able to use Cutthroat. Yep, he's got Wedge like I thought. Proton Torp. But, I mean, he's got 1 dice against 4 and a target lock, but Genesis Red doesn't have a focus. Maybe he does have a focus. Because of Gleb. Okay. So Proton Torp turning that to a crit. He's re-rolling with the target lock, and I guess he has a focus. So 2 hits, 2 crits. Against 1 evade. So it's going to be 2 shields and a crit on Wedge. And the crit is fuel leak. So if he takes another damage, I think it's another damage. Gonna look at fuel leak real quick. Maybe it's if he takes a crit, he suffers damage. That's what it is. So if Brandon does a crit, he does 2 damage instead of 1. Wedge has 3 left. So now it's going to be Paylob or Kyle shooting next. Okay. So they're talking about what ship should Rob be shooting at because he continues to shoot at Palob and he's only done 1 damage. Um, but they faced off before and Brandon won, and that was Rob's one loss in Swiss. And so Rob's trying to, he's trying to change up the strategy. If he does the same strategy again, he loses again. So he's trying to do something different. Makes all the sense in the world. It's just not working out for him. So looks like Kanan is shooting his 2 dice turret into Wedge. It's a bad roll. And Wedge evaded it. But then Palob's got a shot. And Palob's got Lando, so he's got effectively a target lock focus. If he gets hit crit, he could kill Wedge here. That's not going to do it. Well, if he spends a focus, he could kill him unless Wedge rolls and evade. And he doesn't. So, no damage on Hera. And Rob, apparently a lot of people have told Rob his list is too good and it's unbeatable, and he's saying, I don't want to hear that from anybody anymore after this game. So appreciate Rob having a great sense of humor as always in this game. All right, let's be thinking about what Rob can do. And I'm sorry, I didn't realize the whole time I hadn't started the timer. So hopefully you've been paying attention to the timer below. Really sorry about that. I will at least delete the timer from the screen. And we can see that there's 17 minutes and 41 seconds left in the game. That's embarrassing. But hey, if you don't have people helping you commentate, you make mistakes with the interface. So let's think about what Rob can do. Palob on Brandon's list is worth 71 points. It is the heavy ship in Brandon's list. So now that he's killed Stealth Device on Palob, he's a lot easier to kill. But Hera's in a tough spot because Hera's not going to do damage unless he's facing somebody. But if he just goes forward, he's probably going to be blocked and bumped and not be able to help Kyle Katarn. So I thought Hera was going to peel out before. I think Hera's going to peel out now. And then I think Kyle probably banks in. I'm going to look at Kyle's dial here real quick. Let's pull that up. So Kyle can't stop because he's already stressed. I mean, the Seek has a one bank, so Genesis Red can. Well, Genesis Red moves after, so Kyle could do like a one straight. He's or one bank, clear stress. They've got their dial set, so they're moving it, keeping it moving. Brandon moved, I guess, one hard. He does have a one hard. And he gave Hera a tractor token for fun. See how much time we got left here. 15 minutes. So Brandon's deciding to move him and move him, I think, straight forward. One, I think it will clear the quad jumper. Oh, no, he's going to move him to the right on a cloud, make him roll for a strain, keep him from doing an action next turn. And let's see if Rob gets a strain. He does. I'm telling you, Unkar Plutt may be MVP of this game. It's really surprised me that Genesis Red hasn't done more than he has. I know he took Wedge to half, but that was on 2 Proton Torps. You know, he got a ship to half. And he bumped with Paylob. So Kanan's focus rotating so he can shoot at stuff. And Genesis Red pretty much predictively bumps into Kyle. Wow. And he gets another strain, but just a friendly reminder, he's not going to be at 0 dice. He's going to be at 1 green dice because strain don't stack. So it's going to be 3 minus 1 minus 1. So he's going to tractor Paylob. Or okay, so he's going to try to dodge the front arc. So he's going to move to the left. That will dodge his front arc. So he got the tractor, but he, you know, is removing 1 red die. So he's going to be taking 3 reds against 1 green. And then Unkar's moving into range 2 from Kyle, but I fully expect Kyle to shoot Paylob. So Harris going to shoot 3 dice into Kyle. Yeah, Brandon's choosing not to use a force to reduce the die. Makes sense. He has no tokens. And because he'd rather reduce, I think, Kyle's dice by 1. Genesis Red has no shot, so now it's Kyle. So that's what he's doing. So it's going to be 2 red against 1 green. 1 hit. So Brandon could evade this. He could still spend a focus, which he's doing, to reroll the blank with Lando. And he could spend another focus. So he spends 2 focus tokens to mod 1 green dice to an evade. Congratulations, Brandon. And Brandon's laughing because it's stupid. All right, so let's see. I think we're at Brandon's 3s now. So Paylob shooting range 1 into Hera, so it's going to be 3 dice against 1. And then it's going to be another, I think, 4 dice against 1 when, no, I'm wrong. It'd be 3 die against 1 the other shot. So Hera takes 1 shield. So 1 shield down. So Brandon's going to do 3 dice against 1 again, but this time with, oh my goodness, with Kanan. So Hera will definitely be taking a crit. It's weapons failure. So Hera's at half and has a weapons failure. So 1 red dice. Yeah, Brandon is doing really well. Yeah, because the quad jumper doesn't have a shot. So we're into dials and we have 8 minutes left. So at this point, Rob needs to do an onside kick, get a touchdown, go for 2, do it again. I don't see how he can come back. 8 minutes left. So we're sitting at, Brandon's got 128 points. And the problem too is Hera, they're saying they're set, so they're about to, or at least Rob said, so they're about to start moving. Hera is going to be in a tough spot to actually do damage. I still think the best chance for Rob to get significant points is to keep shooting at Paylob with Kyle. So Brandon's coordinating a focus to Paylob with Protectorate Gleb on the quad jumper. It's good that card that came in the recent Scum pack is being used by someone. All right, so Rob stopped. Rob just said, I was born in this hole and I will die in this hole. Again, just appreciate the great sportsmanship here. It's great. So Brandon's moving. Paylob over the cloud. Probably not taking any consequences here. Yeah. Well, not because he's going to roll well, but just because he's, Kyle's at 2 dice versus a cloud protected chip with a focus token. So Kyle moves 2 straight. I believe it was 2 straight. I can't see Brandon's style, so I'm just guessing. And he's deciding what he's going to do with Kyle. He needs a target lock or focus. He's going to focus. Justice Red's going to bump, which means he won't be taking any damage. Because Hera only is going to be shooting 1 die. No matter what Hera does. So Hera did not focus because she'd only give the focus to Paylob. And I think he barrel rolled boosted. That's why he's got the stress token. So Genesis Red has first shot. He actually does have Hera at range 3. No obstruction. Surprising. But it's just 2 dice against 4. 4-0. So now it'll be Kyle. Kyle. I don't know who Kyle's going to shoot at. He might shoot the quad jumper. He's shooting 4 dice out the front of the quad jumper. I don't blame him. Let's get some points. And Kyle Katarn reduces it to 3 dice. Of course. Two hits on the quad jumper. And he's going to take 1 hull damage on the quad jumper. Brandon says he just doubled his damage output. That's a little too much trash, Brandon. So, Kanan shooting Kyle range 1. It's going to be 2 hits. He's going to spin the focus. Kyle rolls nothing, so loses 2 shields. So Kyle is 1 away from half. After this is over, I'm going to try to talk to these 2 gentlemen and get their thoughts on the game. I expect we're going to have 1 more turn. So Hera just died. Wow. The thing is, no one's would ever have come up with a list like this other than Brandon. He's always coming up with these scummy lists with a bag of tricks that no one else would dare fly or think it's any good. Just look at it and think it's jank. But he finds a way to make it work. So quad jumper shooting at Kyle. 1 hit. And Kyle evades it. So we'll see if they do 1 more turn. Looks like they're going to. 2 minutes left, so it should be the last turn of the game. Rob's talking about how people were talking about how his list ruined the game. So watch this game if you think Rob's list ruined the game. Yep. So Kyle's going to move before Genesis Red. He's also going to move before Kanan. I expect. Let's pull up Kyle's dial here. I expect him to just do a one bank, assuming that the quad jumper doesn't move him, which is totally good. Let's look at the quad jumper style here. He could do a one-hearted move, Kyle. Maybe a one bank fits too. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, I expect Brandon to either do the one bank if he thinks it fits, or one hard right with quad jumper move. Kyle, yep, he did the one bank and it fits. They're talking about, wow, that didn't bump again. I don't think Brandon can move him. So he's just giving him the tractor, but he's not moving him. Can't move him if he wanted to. And now it's Kyle's turn. Rob's asking Brandon, what do you think I did? And he's just did a 3 straight to get rid of his stress. I don't know if he moved over the cloud or not. I don't think he did. So he's going to target rotate the. He really wants to kill this quad jumper or get points on it. Hey, I couldn't kill it either, so I get it. So Payload's just floating out there, focusing. Wow. I bet he's focus rotating. So he focus rotated. He'll take a stress. He doesn't care. It's the last turn. Oh my goodness. Brandon keeps doing this. He's going to tractor himself with Unkar. So crazy. He's going to move Genesis Red first. I think he's going to move Genesis Red right to get a shot on Kyle. I don't know why they're overthinking this, guys. Brandon won. Just let's move on with it. Either roll red dice or green dice. Let's just make a decision. So Genesis Red is going to shoot 3 dice at. So he just killed Cog-a-Turn. He PS killed him, as a matter of fact. Crazy. I'm going to go join them in the Discord. Yo. Crazy game, dude. Oh, I was listening to you guys. In fact, we're laying some of the juicier bits. Not the part that we're all talking about taking a bio break. Whoops. But some of the other stuff. Dude, that was a crazy game. Wow.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've 200'd somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. So give me your thoughts on the game, Brendan.
Well, kind of like I was saying before when we were talking, it's one of those where it could have gone either way because he has enough token shenanigans to kind of sort of get through what Paylob does to people. But the problem, as he saw it, so he had the benefit of playing me in Swiss,
right?
So he got to know that the choices that he made in that game did not take him to victory. So it allowed him to sort of think about what to do differently. The problem is what to do differently still didn't really present itself because he felt like he needed at this point to kill Paylob because Genesis Red wasn't an available target, really. And that's kind of the whole point is that the most available targets you're going to get from the list are Paylob and Unkar. Because if you kill Unkar, I don't care, and I'm probably going to use it to regen a Proton Torp and regen a false transponder code,
right,
etc. In this case, late game, the threat became if you switch over and kill a different ship, I'm going to use that to regenerate the stealth device that you spent half your list getting rid of.
Right. Well, but that requires him killing a ship.
Yeah. Yeah, and that sort of became the problem because Genesis Red and Paylob are the real damage dealers. So with them just still sitting there on the table after he expended all that effort, and he knew going in, he said that he knew that Paylob is the trap in the
Greetings
in the list.
Howdy.
So, and congratulations! I didn't get to congratulate Brandon before I rudely ran away to the bathroom.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Thanks, man.
That's okay. I was actually saying at the beginning of the game, Brandon, I thought it was smart how you flew Genesis Red, where he got the unobstructed Proton Torp shots and only took obstructed shots if Rob had chosen to shoot at him, which he correctly chose never to.
Yeah.
So that was good. What surprised me was when you had kind of Paylob over here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but by the cloud over here, by the quad jumper, you could have come in or you could have gone out with Paylob. I was like certain you were going to go orbit the outer clouds.
Oh, go out this way?
Yeah, but you didn't. I think it worked out great for you because Rob kept on taking shots and you just rolled paint like every single time on those 3 green dice and reducing his dice. But I thought that worked out really well.
Yeah, it was just a matter of hoping that I could mitigate it. I felt confident that I could. I felt like if I can get one of those X-Wings off the table real quick, then it's worth it. Even if it stings to take a damage on Paylob, but even if I did, I would still trade an entire ship of someone's for a shield on Paylob.
Sure.
That's a hell of a trade.
Right. That's.
It was actually 2 ships for 1 shield, so you got to.
Yeah. So I ended up getting twice what I would have been content with.
The other thing, and I was scared for Rob with this, and it ended up being the case, was you sent. I mean, when I'm playing a blocker, I'm wanting to fly in the asteroids and hope my opponent comes in there with me, and then I get it's really hard to dodge a ship.
Yeah,
it's flying between asteroids, especially if you can throw tractor beam tokens on them.
Yeah, I couldn't even dodge my own blocker. So
right. So I felt like Unkar Plutt was honestly the MVP of your list in this game. I don't know if Rob agrees, disagrees, or you do, but
I mean, yes.
Yeah, in this situation, like I'm trying to think about like how much damage was done to Rob's list because Unkar was just sitting there going, "I'm going to tractor you," and I didn't tractor him into a rock because he put the rocks where he did and decided he didn't want to fight there, which was smart. But I put him on the strains instead, and it started mattering because he would generate 2 strain moving off of something, and it really ended up it ended up mattering because like the X-Wings especially could not handle having a tractor and then 1 or 2 strains sitting on them because they would just got eaten alive by damage.
That's brutal.
So you may be wondering why I went for the Palob trap as
No, I heard you talk about it and actually made a comment about it, how your logic made sense to me, Rob, how you're saying, hey, you did things a certain way the last time you two faced off with these lists. You have to do something different.
Right. I knew how it ends. I would have wanted to get Kanan, but then again, it's like everything in this list. It's all a trap, really. If I go for Kanan, he's going to be reducing the dice every time, and because Maul, well, okay, took 1, I'm going to get another charge back, and so I'm going to continually be reducing that, and always having to
evade. Put yourself out of position,
right,
to get through my gun line to get into range of Kanan.
Right, it's like a gauntlet of death.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Honestly,
the pain and misery.
I think the true right answer is Genesis Red, but in this situation, Genesis Red kind of likes to flank. So
yeah,
if you don't take the bait and engage the flanker, then you don't really get Genesis Red. But if you do take the bait, then again you're exposing yourself to Palob and Unkar.
The thing is you're not going to get Genesis Red before he's squirted off those torpedoes, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's pretty unlikely.
Least. Yeah, it's pretty likely unless you get a block in the subsequent round that he's going to get at least both of those torpedoes off.
But he gets more torpedoes. Be blocked, then you just like, I'm just going to coordinate him with Gleb with this.
Yeah, and I get going for Genesis Red with your list, Rob, because you've got basically an I4 and 3 I6s or an I3 and 3 I6, just the way that works out with swarm tactics. And
yeah,
I totally get, like, if I get Genesis Red off the board, then I'm PS killing stuff the rest of the game. I totally get that. It's just Brandon didn't give you the chance to do that with the 1 Banks and the Cloud and all that.
It was really hard for me not to, because I knew where Unkar was going to be, what he was going to be doing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to, like, okay, I can kill Unkar in a round or 2 and then just not have to worry about that anymore. But then you're worrying about everything else. You're still having your dice reduced. You're still having all your tokens stolen.
Mm-hmm.
So, it doesn't feel good to... The target priority is kind of crazy with this list. I think that's probably one of its huge strengths.
Absolutely.
Whatever you do, it's wrong. Whatever you pick, it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's wrong. And it's wrong for different reasons too. So I guess, like, in theory, you can, like, depending on what kind of list you have, if you know the list, if you know my list that well, you might be able to pick a target priority that plays to your strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, aces just get dumpstered if they leave Unkar alone, and he gets in their way.
Yeah,
and the fragile ones just go away. I killed a Defender Vader in 2 turns with Unkar.
Yeah, you can have all the tokens in the world. Doesn't matter if you have no agility.
Yep. Well, he had no tokens, but still.
Well, if you put him on a rock too, and he can only shoot twice, that's
I would
too.
I would rock him and he'd pick up the evade, and then I'd steal the evade. So he'd be tractored with no tokens and no defensive force usable, and then Palob and Genesis Red would just hammer him.
Yeah. I did expect to do a little more to Palob than one shield. Like, basically traded half of a list for a shield.
Well, you did the only damage Palob took all tournament.
Wow.
Yay, me! Oh, bad. Well, that is really upped my day. I appreciate that.
Hey, so I'd say, Brandon, congrats on making an original Brandon list.
Yeah, it's a good list. It's a great list. I love it.
For this tournament. And I would say, since we're like vaccines and Massacre coming off, this is probably the last Corona Cup. I mean, I could see us doing something else, but just not calling it Corona Cup. Let's just, the plague's over. Let's just box it up. And so you'll be the just like
the first and the last winner.
Yeah, you'll be the first and the last, and just the reigning champ of Corona. And I would say, Rob,
that's right. Quit while you're ahead.
Congrats on being a good player, man. Bringing a good list and just being a good sport, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a lot of the time the player can, even if you're having a horrible time against the list, the player's horrible too. Unfortunately, Brandon's not. He's enjoyable to play against.
Yeah, you're enjoyable to play against too. It could be worse. I've seen people get very upset at me over being done less dirty than you got done just now. But like I said, it could have gone either way. Honestly, like if you could have had some hot reds and I could have had some bad greens, and my plan would just have not worked.
Yeah.
So it could have happened. In this case, I think average dice favors me. So, you had an uphill climb in that regard, unless you got some really hot dice to tilt
and this
things
list
at least equal.
Relies on paint.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you've got focuses. I mean, your greens, if you're all tokened up, your greens, you can mitigate some bad paint because you can convert those focuses to evade tokens. But yeah, you need paint. And then part of the problem in this situation was I didn't even give you the opportunity to roll that paint because I just took.
Yeah, I think I only had focus tokens for 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah,
and
you got blood
never
dry,
to be seen
and then
again.
you lost all your dice on tractor beams and strains.
Yeah,
and that didn't help you either.
So if I had focuses, it wouldn't have actually mattered.
That's true. Yeah, you would have just had a stack and nothing to do but feed them to me each turn. So,
well done, guys.
Congrats,
good
man.
game.
Yeah, good game, Rob.
I tried my
thanks
best.
for running the tournament.
It was running pretty good, ran nice and smooth.
We had a little bit of drama, but we took care of it. So
that's right.
I appreciate y'all's patience with me having to redo the pairings earlier this week. But like I told Rob, it wouldn't be an X-Wing tournament unless we have to repair at least once. So
that's true. That's true. And we've kind of been talking throughout the tournament, and I think we've figured out, like, from a list, like just a pure list on paper standpoint, I had a feeling that it didn't matter which of us faced which person, it was going to end up, we were going to play each other again.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it worked out. But he's so much fun to play. I played him twice.
You played me 3 times, actually.
In this tournament? No.
Oh, that'd be cheating.
I was like, no, there's no way.
I'm 0 for 3 against you, Brandon.
Well, get good.
I mean, seriously, I'm sure I'm less than 500 against Brandon. He's an excellent player.
It's because I'm very selective about the events that I play in, and I won't play in hyperspace. I'm just kidding. I have bad lists in hyperspace too. They just don't come out as much because I don't like.
You can fly mouth reader list or Barons if you think that's not a mouth reader list. So there's
that's
that.
definitely that's kind of a mouth breathery list. Problem is, it's also got tech against and stuff.
I don't.
Yeah.
I think if I switch y'all's list to hyperspace, there'd be like 2 cards left on it. It'd be funny. So,
Yeah.
there wouldn't be a lot. I think Garvin and Hera. They are.
Yeah. Well, yours is naked, which is you don't see a lot of naked hair out there, so that was pretty cool.
Garvin and Hera are. Kyle is not, but you could just change Wedge to Luke.
Yeah.
And then you just find another support ship, but I don't know what.
I don't know if there are any.
Are the U-wings hyperspace or no?
No, they're not.
They're not. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Then that's tough. Mine, I lose Palob. That whole thing folds, and I lose Unkar, and Gleb transfers.
Well, you've got Palob. You just don't have him as like the Uber tank.
Right. So I don't have Palob.
Well, guys, I'm going to call it. You have a great night. Appreciate it. Thank you for letting me stream the game.
Oh, of course, man.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Have a good night, Charles.
Hey, y'all have a good one.
See you, mate.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Yeah.